But instead of coming to a junkyard, State Farm sent the car to an auto auction. Now, there's nothing technically wrong or unusual about that, but instead of selling the car with a salvage title, State Farm kept a clean title on the BMW.
While the worst may indeed be over, there are still remnants of Hurricane Brett. Not only is the water here in Corpus Christi Bay still extremely rough, there have also been wind gusts reported, up to 60 and 70 miles an hour.
McVeigh had no criminal record and wasn't in any trouble. He was shot in the head once. No witnesses, never any suspects. The biggest clue and perhaps the most disturbing part of this crime is the fact that McVeigh's face was spray painted blue.
11 News investigator Crayton Webb is live in Valley Ranch tonight with a problem that's becoming more and more common. Crayton?
Well, Karen, the whole concept of sick building syndrome is hardly a new one. There have been numerous cases documented where people go to work, they become terribly ill for some mysterious reason, but when they leave the workplace, they're just fine. In September, a call for action had the story of a family that had very similar problems and similar symptoms. It turns out mold was to blame. It was growing in their walls. Turns out mold is a huge problem both in old houses and new ones.
Call for Action investigator Crayton Webb broke this story and joins us live tonight with details. Crayton?
Well, Karen, Tracy, many of these investors have lost their homes, farms, their entire life savings. An estimated 1,300 people are said to have collectively invested and lost $17 million over the last 3 years.
The demand for access cards is so great now you can even find them for sale on eBay.com. Most go for hundreds of dollars.
As a consumer, I don't feel I'm really doing anything real illegal.
This man, who asked not to be identified, says he's one of many who bought an illegally modified access card.
I think there's a lot of people. I mean, there's 3 or 4 people in my area that I know on the same block. You know, it's always a friend comes by and says, hey, I got what he calls the hookup.
The truth is, merely possessing a modified satellite television access card is a federal felony, let alone using it, selling it, or reprogramming it. It's a crime both DirecTV and federal authorities are taking very seriously.
City leaders and thousands of Dallas employees work in City Hall, and hundreds of citizens come in and out every day, maybe to pay their taxes or to get a driver's license.
I would expect to be about as safe as you can be in Dallas City Hall.
One of the fire code violations found here in City Hall is the fact that these fire hose boxes, which don't have glass on the cover, are supposed to be labeled. Ironically, this box is located right in front of the Fire Administration office here in City Hall, where all of the Dallas Fire Department's top brass office.
According to court records, the Securities and Exchange Commission is investigating Kraft for fraud. Since 1997, Kraft is suspected of depositing $17 million in the First Lenape Nation Bank, connected to a bingo parlor on Delaware Indian country near Anadarko, Oklahoma. The money can't be traced.
The Delaware Indian tribe may as well be in the Cayman Islands or Europe as opposed to the shoreless borders of central Oklahoma. See, the tribe claims its bank, First Lenape, is sovereign, which means it doesn't fall under the jurisdiction of the U.S. government, and its account holders have complete secrecy, just as if they had an offshore or Swiss bank account.
The SEC suspects Kraft used First Lenape as a conduit to funnel money for his personal use. Records obtained by CBS 11 show Kraft withdrew large sums of cash for himself, his family, and business associates. Bob Scholler, who says he was also taken by Kraft, knows where some of the money went.
But there was a lot of personal items being purchased, like I say, cars, charter airplanes, and so on.
Kraft stopped returning investors' phone calls months ago and has virtually ignored SEC subpoenas. We found Kraft's Oklahoma City headquarters locked. The FBI seized computers and files there last summer.
Is Mr. Kraft here?
We did find Kraft at his home in Jones, Oklahoma. He declined an on-camera interview, but when pressed about his promises to investors, said, "I didn't promise them anything. This whole thing is in the process of being resolved amicably.